Willie O'Ree was the Jackie Robinson of hockey, the first black player in the NHL. Here he is at 22 years old in the 1950s, the late 1950s, as a rookie forward for the Boston Bruins. Since then, he's continued to be a powerful influence on the sport, promoting hockey in minority communities. Now his contributions are being recognized in Boston and on Capitol Hill. Major Garrett spoke with O'Ree and shares his remarkable story.
Boston went O'Ree down the ice.
Willie O'Ree became the first black player in the National Hockey League in 1958, suiting up for the Boston Bruins.
And it's 3-1.
O'Ree, now 86, was playing minor league hockey in Quebec when he got the call.
On January the 18th, 1958, the Bruins called the Quebec Aces and says, we want O'Ree to meet the Bruins in Montreal to play 2 games against the Montreal Canadiens.
O'Ree did what Jackie Robinson had done 11 years earlier. Integrate a white sport as a black professional.
They sat me down and said, Willie, we brought you up because we think you can add a little something to the club. Don't worry about anything else, about just going out and playing your game.
The speedy winger did, and afterward described it this way.
It was the greatest thrill of my life, I believe. I'll always remember this day.
I'm going to ask you a question. I think in the first period you looked like you were a little nervous, were you?
Yes, I bet.
It scared you a little,
Yes, it did.
O'Ree was talking about achieving his ultimate goal, playing in the NHL, not making racial history.
I didn't recognize that I had broke the color barrier until I read it in the paper the next day.
Did you encounter any racial hostility?
Oh, yeah. You know, from different players and fans in the stand, different players on the opposition. Yeah, I heard the racial remarks and racial slurs, and it was in Chicago and New York, probably the worst problems I had.
Black players in pro sports knew what to expect and were expected to endure it in silence.
In terms of this business of being the Jackie Robinson of hockey, have you had any troubles?
No, none that you could say that were troubles. I've heard a few jeers like that, but I guess all hockey players get that.
And O'Ree goes back for Boston.
O'Ree played 45 games in the NHL over 2 seasons, then flourished in minor league hockey, winning 2 scoring titles.
I remember the first time I came into this building.
In San Diego, where O'Ree played 8 seasons, his number is the only one in the rafters. Next week,
O'Ree getting set.
The Boston Bruins will retire O'Ree's number, 22.
I'm overwhelmed and really excited. But golly, I'm really thrilled.
O'Ree is already in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He has a statue at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and he is on the verge of receiving the Congressional Gold Medal.
He really is somebody that exemplifies courage and, you know, what we want as a role model for our kids.
Senator Debbie Stabenow of Michigan and Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois have led the gold medal effort, Congress's highest civilian award.
When you started talking to your colleagues, did any of them know who Willie was?
No.
How about you, Mike?
Very, very few knew who he was. I'll be honest. I grew up not knowing who Willie was.
Was it a hard sell once you had the conversation,
No,
Senator?
in fact, people would go, the first black player in the NHL, wow.
And when he went to the Chicago Stadium as a Boston Bruin, the fans were the worst in the league, and so were the players. It's tough to hear because these were my heroes growing up.
This story, it has a twist.
I had an unfortunate accident.
Willie O'Ree, the NHL's first black player, a descendant of slaves, played his entire professional career blind in his right eye.
It was a slap shot from the point. The puck came up and hit me flat in the right eye and broke my nose.
O'Ree's surgeon said he'd never play hockey again, but within weeks he was back on the ice, striving for the NHL. He swore his family to secrecy and never told any team of his blindness.
I said, forget about what you can't see and just concentrate on what you can see.
What he couldn't see then was the enduring power of his example.
You can only imagine what he's been through.
Anthony Duclair plays forward for the Florida Panthers.
As a young black male playing hockey in a predominantly white sport, you don't see too many black athletes. Definitely motivated me, I would say, to make the NHL and try to, pass it on forward to the next generation for sure.
O'Ree has spent the last 25 years passing it forward to the next generation as one of the NHL's diversity ambassadors, bringing hockey to underserved minority communities.
This is what I tell these kids: you can do anything you set your mind to do, and don't let anybody tell you can't attain your goal. If you feel strongly within your heart and within your mind, and never give up.
Willie did some of that outreach right here at Fort DuPont Ice Rink in Washington, D.C. Willie O'Ree is quite obviously a national hero. He's also a personal hero of mine. I grew up watching him play for the San Diego Gulls as a child in San Diego. Willie O'Ree inspired me to pick up the sport, and we have some photographic evidence of that. There you see it. Yours truly, age 14, fully suited up, San Diego skyline in the background. To meet Willie O'Ree was one of the great privileges of my life and an honor as a hockey player, a San Diegan, and an American. Gayle?
Wow, yours truly still looking pretty good there, Major. You look fantastic.
And look good on the ice, too.
But
Yeah, really
Major,
good.
don't go anywhere. But I want to go back to Willie O'Ree, and then I want to go back to Major's picture. Number one, Brian Mullen, who knows the thing about hockey in our studio, has been talking about Willie O'Ree for years.
Yep.
But it's something about when you see all of the things that he went through. In that interview, he seemed to downplay the racism that he experienced. Yes. And now he's talking about it, Major, which I also think is very very healthy, and very important to do. Imagine what this man went through and was blind in one eye. Yeah. That's extraordinary.
Exactly. The blindness is one aspect of the story, but all the racial slurs and hostility he encountered, he knew he simply had to endure it. That was the only option. It was the only option for Jackie Robinson. It was the only option for Willie O'Ree. And he really didn't ever talk about it then. He's not so comfortable talking about it now. He will recognize it, acknowledge it, but say, I pushed through it, and I tell children from minority communities, don't worry about it. Pursue your dreams, work hard, believe in your heart that you can achieve things, and all things are possible.
And Major, can I say you look really good on skates, but I'm so glad you
got the skills.
Yeah, you still got skills. You got skills. And you were so cute.
I played as a child.
Very cute. You're still very cute.
I played as a child, and so that rink in San Diego, Willie's played there, I played there. He skated on this rink, I skated on this rink, so it's all together.
Very cool.